What's going on with the Techi Fam? Kan Jones back. Another installment, the last installment of this Power BI series. So this is going to be part 6, and we're going to jump into working with bookmarks and drill through pages. And you think of bookmarks as a snapshot of some way you've set up your data. In that last activity, we set up the slicer. So let's say we wanted to focus on a specific year. So we set it up for 2022. And then we set the region up as, Northeast. And then we set that category as bikes. Whatever's displayed based on that filtering, we can get a bookmark, set a bookmark, give it a name, and later on when we're showing this dashboard or this report, we can go ahead and just click that and it'll go right to the settings that you set that bookmark up for. Now the drill through, that's going to work where you create another page and that will be more granular. So let's say you have it set up so that your bookmark page, when a person comes to your sales overview page, they can click on one of those categories, right? One of the bar chart, click on one of those like bikes, drill through, and then that'll take them to the other page where it will be another bar chart that breaks down all the different types of bikes in the subcategory. So that might be how you want to set that up, or a way that you can set that up. Actually, the way we're going to set that up. And so I'm going to show you how to do both of those things, along with adding buttons that will clear all the slicers. You can also add a button to navigate through the different pages. So that's what we're going to be getting into today. We're going to make it quick, but we're going to make it useful. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so here we've got our sales overview report open back up. And we see, as I left it off, we've got our selection slicers here for year selection, region selection, category. We've got our chart here for the total sales by category and some year-to-date sales. And then we've got these cards here set up showing our total sales, our total orders, and total returns. So in order to get one of those bookmarks added, what you want to do is head up to the View menu. And you'll see over here in this Show Pane section, if I click on bookmarks, there we go. I had to double click it because it was already over here in the right. Again, depending on what version that you have of Power BI, things have changed up a little bit. So if you don't see it over here to the right, you do get it from that view menu. So with that, here in this bookmarks pane, you'll see that there is this add option, right? So what we want to do though first is set this up as a snapshot. So I'm going to start with my year selection. I'm going to put this to 2022. Region, I'm going to go ahead and select Australia. That's somewhere I've always wanted to visit since I was a child. I've spun the globe many times, landed on Australia. Someday I'm going to get it there. I don't know about that flight though. The flight seemed crazy. After about 2.5 hours, I get too antsy. I'm 6'5". Being in those seats, kind of crazy. And I know when you get into those international flights, it's more leg room and all that, but no matter what, I get antsy. Anyways, back to it. Category selection. We're going to set this up for bikes, right? So here we're able to see year 2022 in Australia, the bikes sold 2.26 million. There was 1.5K orders, 43 returns. All right, this breakdown. So now what we want to do is head back over to the bookmarks, and I'm going to click on this add button. It's going to bring up a bookmark. So it's bookmarking what this is. So I'm going to double click on that field there, makes it editable. I'm going to update this to this is one of them words that get me. Australia bike. Yeah, let's see. Bike sales. Man, that is fumbling through 2022, right? So I've got that. If I want to move this over a little bit where it's not truncated, there we go. So now I'm able to see this bookmark. Now, as it stands, to show you how this works, I'm going to come here to these selection slicers. And if you hover over, you'll see the little pop-up. It looks like an eraser right there, clear selections. If I go ahead, clear, I'm going to do this for all 3 of those slicers. It's back to the overall view, right? So if I head up here to the bookmarks and give this Australia Bike Sales 2022 a click, it goes back to the settings that we set it as. Now, you can do this for each of these different regions. That way you can quickly jump through without having to click on the slicer to change it. So that's an idea for how to use these bookmarks, right? So that's bookmarks. Again, cool stuff you can do with it. Now, actually something I realized here, I didn't get rid of this. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this so that, there we go. Get rid of that. And that's one of the buttons that I was talking about. I had tested it out just to make sure it worked like it was supposed to before I started recording this. All right, so I've got these selection slicers back to the basics. Now, what I'm going to do is head up to, let me see, my insert menu. And in the insert menu, you're going to see here off to the right, there is a way to insert or text box. That's what we had brought to get our title here for that report. But you've got buttons. So if I click this drop down, you've got button options here. Now, when you bring these buttons in, you can assign them different roles, different tasks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this clear all slicer. So I'm going to set this up so that I don't have to go through and manually undo all of those with that clear. So what I'm going to do is click the clear all slicers. I'm going to grab that, drag that down here to the bottom. There we go. Now with this selected, I'm going to head over to the format, right? So there's some formatting options I can do here. I can drop down the button styles, right? So the state, it's got it by default because we want it to be on press, not hover. You can change the shape, things like that. So with that, I'm going to collapse this. The action, we want to make sure that the action is on, and then I'm going to make sure I'm going to go ahead and do this drop down. Now we've got the action here. It's set to clear all slicers. That's what we want that to do. If I click this drop down, see, I can change the action that it has. So even though it says clear all slicers, I can update that title and go ahead and add a different action to it. So you're not limited by the default action based on the button type. The way it's set up is that when you choose one of those buttons, if it's like a back arrow, it's going to automatically assume that you want to go back with it. So if you want to be creative, you do have the ability to do that. Okay. So with that, what we're going to do is we have to now set this. So I'm going to select this. Okay. And the way that this would work is, let's say I go back to my Australia bike sales 2022. All right. Now, if I come to this slicer and I got to hold down control, it tells you what you need to do. I'm going to hold down control and then click it and it resets. So that's how you get a button added to this report. Again, a lot of stuff that you can do in terms of working with those buttons. Those buttons can be clicked and then take you to an outside URL, to a website or something like that. It can take you to another page. A lot of options for it. So now with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump over. So for you all, create a new page. I'm going to basically show you what I did. I've already got it set up here, but what you would do is create a new page. I called this sales by product. Okay. So I jumped over to the sales by product, and what I did was I brought in, excuse me, this bar chart. So I came here, I grabbed a stacked bar chart, brought this in, and I brought in my product name and then the total sales field. So I brought that product name to the Y-axis and then the total sales to the X-axis. And this is what I've got here. Broken out, of course, I can scroll down. All right. And so what I also did was brought in some slicers for this that I could filter this by year, filter this by region also here on this page, but we're using this as a drill down page. And the way that we're going to set this up is so that here on our sales overview, when a user comes here to, this bikes category on this bar chart, they can right click and choose to drill through. So if I were to click this sales by product, it now takes me here and it's a breakdown of all of those different products that are under that bikes category. So this gives you a more granular look at that data. So, excuse me. So I'm going to show you how to get that set up. So after you bring in your table, you get the fields there, you've got your slicers, because you can also just still have this as a page that you can have by itself. All right. So I'm going to make sure that I've got this table selected. All right, so with this selected, what I want to do is I'm going to come over, or actually, sorry, I'm going to deselect this. And I'm going to come to page information. I'm going to expand page information. And what you're going to see is this page type. By default, it's going to be set to standard. That's what it's going to be set as, right? You click that and turn this into a drill through. Now with that set as a drill through, you have to add your category name, and I added category name because I want it based on this sales overview. When someone comes here to this category name, that's what's going to send them. So when they right click here, you'll see that drill through, or even there on the tooltip. I guess should have pointed that out. So hovering over to that, you see that drill through option. Then I can click this and it's taking me right there. See? All right. So changing that to drill through, I left to keep filters on. You can also set this up for a cross report. If you're interested to learn more about that, definitely just a quick Google. You can use other pages in the reports. Essentially, it's here with this tooltip telling you, allows other reports to use this page as a drill through destination. So if you've got multiple pages that you want to have the ability to come to this page, turn that on. We just got this one page here, so no big deal. Now, one of the other things is this drill through when, and the category name is use as a category. I'm not going to set it to summarize. Don't want it to be on summarize. We want to use it as a category. Now, those changes, perfection, right? I'm going to recollapse that. And then, as I said, you come back to that sales overview page. And now it is set up in a way that if you want to drill through one of these, if I wanted to come, let's see, if I go accessories, and I go drill through. Now it's showing me accessories. These are no longer the bikes. So good stuff, good stuff. So with that, one of the things that I do want to mention, when you do create turn a page into a drill through page, you'll notice that it gives you this back arrow by default. So it automatically adds this. And so what this does is help with, once you've drilled in and you looked at the page, if you were to go here and just hold control, click, it's going to bring you back to that original page that got you there. So that's kind of the business of working with these bookmarks and drill throughs. Again, you can add as many of these as you need. You can play around with the different images. You can even bring in your own icons. Like, I'm going to show you this really quick. So on this clear all slicers, I'm going to have that selected, and I'm going to pop over here to this button style. Let me see, icon. I'm going to turn the icon on and expand this. All right. So I can set that icon up, place it wherever I want to place it. Again, it's a little eraser. That's all right. Let me see. I can maybe go 2 pixels there. All right. So now this is set here. Maybe I'll format it a little so it's a little bit closer to the size of those slicers, looking a little closer to what those look like. There we go. Bam. Now there we go. So we've got a slicer. We set up we have a button. We've got our bookmark, so we can jump to this bookmark and then come here, click, control click, clear all those slicers, get it set back up. We can also jump down to this total sales by category, right click, drill through, and that'll take us to this more granular breakdown of those bikes. Now, something you might have noticed here, if I select and I come back to that page information, right? Remember I talked about the tooltip. So one of the things I'm going to point out, if I select this page type, make this a tooltip, right? I can come back over here. Let me make sure my tooltips are turned on for this. Oh, should be good then. There we go. So now hovering over this, it brings up that whole page. So this is what I was talking about in terms of if you want to create a page that that will on hover bring up another image. This could be great when you're working with if I wanted to put a product image like a bicycle that pops up here, but it's more for detailed analysis. So I've seen it utilized in the way where it's a person, right? They're doing some breakdown on like the top athletes, and when you hover over their name, it pops up with a picture and some stats and things of that nature. So some cool stuff that you can do with that. I'm gonna go ahead and return back to my sales product. I'm gonna turn this back into my drill through page, give this a save, get back to that sales overview, and make sure, let me see, yep, that's that. Again, I told you it was gonna be quick. So at this point, you figured out how to download Power BI, showed how to get it installed, showed you how to get data pulled in, how to do some transformations to that data, set things up how you need it, how to create your data model in terms of establishing your relationships. We showed you how to hop in, do a quick assessment, make sure things work, created some calculated columns, created some measures. I didn't do a measures table. That's something that I'm going to get into when I'm going into the grain and the weeds of things. So I'll get to that, but we did create those, got some visuals pulled together, created a couple of formulas in order to display the overview information, and then close it out with showing you how to actually jump in here, create these snapshots, bookmarks, buttons, working with those buttons, and then that drill through functionality. So with that, I appreciate y'all walking through this. Keep tuned, because I'm going to keep dropping more and more videos on this iTechnicallyKan page. I appreciate y'all that's been rocking with this Q1 of 2025. Hit that 50 subscriber mark, so I appreciate y'all all the way. Soon I'm going to be getting some merch and stuff together. So this iTechnicallyKan tutorial, stickers and keychains, bookmarks, things like that to be pulled together so I can show my love back. We can support each other in this journey. So with that said, I technically can, you technically can, together we technically can. Can Jones, and I'm up out of there. See y'all.